Awesome. Okay, so it's being recorded now. Welcome to the 12/9 kickoff. I apologize if this meeting goes a little different than before because I don't know what we did before. So I look forward for any recommendations of how we can make this useful, or if you don't find it useful at all, we can scrap it. Totally up to the team. So let's get some feedback on that moving forward. I'm going to dive right in because we only have 30 minutes and I have a bit of stuff here. Just some things to highlight. I just dropped in the links to different things here at the top. But let's talk about priorities. For 12/9, probably the most important thing, which everything's important, but the most heartburn we will all feel if we don't get it done, is issue number 191428, which is essentially not allowing a self-managed license to work when it's loaded if the start date is a future start date. So from a business perspective, we're constantly renewing customers early. That's a good thing because we want to get them locked in and move on to other things. But today, when they get a self-managed license, they can load it and it immediately gives them the entitlements regardless of the date. So that's a real bad thing on the finance side. So everybody take a look at that. If you have any participation in that issue, please make that your top priority. Okay, other priorities. I want to talk about how I'm conveying priorities. Let me do a quick share. This may or may not work for the group. I've heard that it's not the best way for everybody. So right now I'm going to tell you what I've done for this milestone. What I'd like to talk about in our retro of this milestone is how else can we do this? We don't have to take up time in this milestone right now. But basically what we're doing is we're using the P labels, the P1, P2, P3, to indicate if an issue should be resolved in the next milestone, which would be P1, in the next 2 to 3 milestones, which is P2, or the definitions are in the handbook. But once it gets into a milestone, we're not changing these P labels to give you priority within the milestone. So that becomes confusing because I think some people think that that's how we're doing it. What we're doing instead is technically anything in the milestone should be a P1, but we brought in more. But we're stack ranking. So when we're looking at it in this view, I'm basically trying to communicate to you that this is the top priority of the milestone. This is the second priority. This is the third priority. When you're looking at a list view of the issues for the milestone, you can't see that, right? I can search by milestone, but you can't see the fact that I've said, this is my number one priority as per the business. So just something that I want us all to be thinking about. You know, should we change the use of the priorities within the milestone so that you have that? Should we create a new label? Should everybody use the board? Other ideas? If somebody has some ideas that you want to chat about now, I'm happy to do that now. Otherwise, as I mentioned, maybe be thinking about it throughout the milestone and we can make it a topic of discussion in the retro.
Yeah, my sort of idea here is that like once it's in the milestone is that they're kind of all equal priority. Is that kind of not the right thinking here about this? Because I mean, our goal is to pretty much try to finish out all the tasks that are in the milestone during that milestone if possible. So like, I would assume that we could pull from that milestone in any order that we want. Is that not correct?
Yeah, from my perspective, there are definitely things that, like, if I had to let something slip, I'm going to put further down on the list, right? I don't want it to slip, but those are the things that are like, okay, we can deal with that. I picked back end, I meant front end. But basically, I am stack ranking them to convey to your team, okay, start in P1 column and start at the very top and go down. That's the ideal. The exceptions would be like, let's say this particular issue also relates to this issue and you can knock those two out together, you know, quickly. Then of course, you know, you would want to do something like that. But no, I'm trying to convey to you the stack ranking is priority, especially because we haven't really gotten our workflow down to know exactly everything we're going to bring in, we're going to deliver yet. I think once we get there, you could probably start picking if milestone after milestone we're delivering everything, then it's a non-issue. But right now, when we're still working that out, I'd like to make sure that, okay, for your team, Chris, these are the things that are most important, these 4. And then these come in next, with this one being the first one, this one being the last one. Again, may not work for your team. So I'd like you and the team to think about, what does work, and let's see if we can come up with a solution that works for all the teams. So it's one process to discuss in the retro.
I think that's okay. I'll just keep that in mind. Thank you.
Okay, cool.
Can I just a quick question?
Yeah.
So the stacked priorities, this is news to me. Maybe you said this 3 times, but sorry. But who's allowed to make changes to it? Does that need to be like?
So I think we should work as a team, first of all. I don't think that anything should be hands off. I think if let's say you are working on something that you're nearly done with something at the bottom and you need to get it done in order to do something else that's a higher priority, feel free to move it and just ping me, or ping me and I'll move it for you. I think you know best what, from your dev perspective, what makes sense. If you've done 90% of the work and you want to finish it out, or it's blocking something else, totally fine. I don't know those things. So I'm prioritizing based on the needs of the business and what's moving us closer to our OKRs and, all these different things. Does that make sense?
This makes a lot of sense. Thank you.
Cool. Yeah, I think overall it's teamwork. I just need to know about it so that I can understand. Yeah. All right, cool. I called out UX priorities specifically here because this is shared resource, and I think we haven't figured out, have I put too much in for UX yet, or is it the right amount? So I just want to make sure that Tim and Emily are on the same page with the things that are assigned to UX and the priorities there. So on Tim's plate would be the big hot potato that everybody should be aware of, which is that don't let the license work early. And then we have some pajamas reviews for the front end team that we'd like to get moved over to that team as quickly as possible. So Tim, are you on the call?
I think he's here.
Okay, so I'll just check with him to make sure he knows which ones those are. Then the open design issues for pajamas, and then finally licensing. So those, yep.
Is that the order?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Do you know how many offhand, like, open design issues there are for pajamas?
I don't, but I can summarize that afterwards.
Okay. Yeah, that would be helpful for me. And then my other question is, like, for Michael, I don't know, right now what's planned for 12/9 for your team, for Tim. Is it a lot of overlap with what's here, or are there different things?
I can send you a link to the board. There are a few scorecards. Just pulling it up. I don't think there's anything super heavy. I mean, we've got a number of things, but Amanda, I agree with Amanda's priorities here.
Okay.
So let me look at the things assigned to Tim right now. One sec.
Just the important thing is if there's anything that's like a high priority for you, that we balance it with the things that are a high priority here for Amanda.
Yeah, and Amanda and I are working really closely, so okay. I think we're good there. What we have in retention is there is the scorecard for renewing. There is the what's new notification, which Tim's already done some design on, and so that shouldn't be a huge thing. There's an item to add a link to the portal on the admin/license page. So that should be like hopefully that's a quick one.
Oh, yeah.
And then there's a larger one around allowing a self-managed customer to upgrade their subscription at the time of renewal. But that I would also put behind this immediate near-term stuff that Amanda's asking for. So, okay. Chris, I think Chris maybe has an idea on the pajamas open issues. I think there was a couple reviews you were looking for, Chris.
Yeah, we've got at least the CI minutes one has been open for review for like a couple of weeks now. So I'd like to get that reviewed as soon as possible to try to get it into.
Has it been open for visual review or other review?
For, I don't know what the difference is, but yeah, for review of the design.
For visual review.
Yeah.
Is Tim assigned to it?
Yes.
Because he usually gets like on the visual reviews very quickly. So if it's been for a few weeks, my guess is he maybe doesn't know about it for some reason. Might need a ping.
A couple of times. I'm not sure. I just assume he's kind of gotten busy on other tasks.
Chris, can you
I can ping him again.
Prioritize a visual review. Like we prioritize MR review over other work because we want to get things merged. We don't want to be a blocker to merging things. So a visual, like an MR review, shouldn't take more than a couple days for a designer to, I mean, even less than that. Just FYI.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just to try to get the pipeline through faster, we could have probably merged some of it sooner if we got a visual review on it more quickly, but we kind of delayed merging it because we didn't get a review sooner. So
okay, well, when that happens, just keep in mind that it should be really quick. And when it happens, like if it's not quick, it's probably because there's maybe some priority we don't know about, or the designer actually doesn't know or realize they missed the ping or something like that. So it might be like message them a second time or message me, and we can maybe see if there's another designer who can do the review as well. Because we definitely don't want that to take long.
Okay, sounds good. I'll follow up after the meeting on that one.
Okay. And then do you know about any open ones that are outstanding? Like where design is needed?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
Okay, because I thought that those were all done. That was my understanding. So if there's anything that still needs design work, let me know. We can get that done.
All right, so I think it would be best if we could link the issues, the ones that need the visual review in number 2 under Tim, and then anything open for design in number 3. So Jackie has a quick link to be able to see those. So we'll get that done, Jackie, after this meeting. Thanks. And thanks for the reminder. It's okay to escalate, even if it's more than once. Everybody gets busy and accidentally deletes the email notifications that you got pinged on something. Same goes for me. If you've pinged me once or twice, don't be afraid to ping a third time. I will thank you for it.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like we're getting people in trouble or anything like that.
Yeah.
People are doing a good job, and it's just a matter of sometimes like we get so many messages and notifications, and sometimes things get buried or lost. So, and I'm
100%.
happy to help if I get pinged on something that's not.
Understood. No problem.
100%. All right, and then on Emily's plate, we've got a bunch of work here with the kind of showing the warning, the different flavors of showing warnings for the users. If I have this a little bit lower, but I think that we have some confusion on when design is complete because they're still assigned to the issue, that I think sometimes dev thinks there's something outstanding. I'm not sure, I'm making that assumption. I just want to clarify that our UX folks will continue to have the issue assigned to themselves so that they can come back for that last review, but make note of the workflow label changing from design to the next stage. And UX folks, let's be real cognizant of making that change on the workflow label too. So dev knows, okay, I'm picking up that baton now. Does that make sense?
Amanda, would it be better to leave the UX label and the designer unassign themselves? And then when the visual review is ready, then the developer could reassign the designer? Because it might be more obvious.
For me personally, I think that that's a clearer indication that, okay, I'm done, but I didn't want to hinder the UX team's process. If that works for UX, I think, I don't know, developers, what are your thoughts?
As long as it's consistent, then it's fine, either one. So whatever UX is whatever's better for UX.
Okay, let me ask the team this week and make a decision, and then I'll write it down somewhere and let y'all know.
Okay, perfect. Awesome. So Emily has those, and then also in our P1 list, albeit towards the bottom, we have the SKUs for the open virtual classroom. That's a good one that's working towards our OKRs, getting us more money in the door. So anything we can do to get that one out as well would be awesome. In terms of, I wasn't going to review the entire board. I had hoped that the team had a chance to take a look at what was on there before this meeting. Any questions specifically about any of the items that are on the board? Issues or concerns? Okay, we can also do that async in the planning issue if something comes up, or in the issue itself, and you have a question or concern. Moving on, I just thought there was a lot of really helpful feedback in the 12.8 retro. One of the things that I thought was really good was Amar's suggestion about taking big items and doing a review between front end and back end right in the beginning to become more efficient. I don't know that we have any of those in this one, but I'd like to kind of toss it out to the team, maybe take a quick look at the board today to see if there's any opportunities for that, and if so, create a planning meeting for that. Also, I saw a theme where folks were saying towards the end of the milestone that they weren't feeling super productive, or they got bogged down in research, or just different kind of things that happened in that milestone. And I want to know, is there anything that anybody on the team can do to remove blockers or prevent that from happening again, or was it just kind of a one-off? It's kind of just open.
For me, it was probably just more of a one-off with just, you know, getting assigned, or like picking up a task that was more research related than like actual code output, like creating MRs type of thing. So it's not necessarily that I was less productive. It was just a different type of productive. And so maybe that looks differently if our, you know, if some of the metrics that we're going for is the number of MRs that are getting output. So it maybe feels less productive in that regard, but still, you know, working hard, that sort of thing. I don't know if that's a similar feeling for everybody else.
All right. Well, if anything does come up, certainly reach out to whoever can unblock you or can attempt to unblock you or assist. But Tyler, yeah, I mean, I think that's just the way a research milestone is going to go. Nothing bad there. Okay, so I just want to discuss issue assignments. We kind of talked about that a little bit, just a few bullets back. Let's wait for Jackie to come back after she talks with the team, and then we can go from there. Maybe we can discuss this async. I'll put it on the planning issue. And then I wanted to highlight for UX issues moving forward, I want to be really cognizant of indicating if the deliverable in the issue is just the design, and we're going to close that issue when design is done and create a related dev issue. I want that to be very clear, as well as when we expect the deliverable of an issue to include both design and dev. Because sometimes it can get confusing. What is the output of this particular issue? Are we going to open another one? And if we aren't going to open another one, UX needs to know that, so when they're prioritizing, they know that, okay, somebody's waiting on me for this issue. So let's just, in the summary of the issues, if you're creating issues, or if you're working an issue and it's not clear, ask that question, and let's get that made known to everybody. Then lastly, I just want to give a heads up on some labels. I think that we agreed in the planning issue that we're not going to use the deliverable label anymore, because it's kind of giving us a false output because it's being used inconsistently. If there's a desire to use it, that's fine too, but let's just get everybody on the same page with using it so that the metrics make sense. But I think as of this minute, we're not using it. And then 2 new labels. This one I mentioned in a different forum. Ent App Ecosystem is for any work that is likely to touch or affect enterprise apps, Salesforce, or Stripe, Marketo. And another new label, which I or other product managers will be applying, is growth deliverable. That's just to track items that are hitting our growth OKRs. This is not to be confused with the deliverable label that we just talked about. So it doesn't mean anything necessarily different to you other than this is to help with our OKRs. And then the last thing I had was, I know everybody's eagerly awaiting the kitchen sink user. I've been waiting on access requests. They've just been getting filled. So hopefully I can get in there, and actually I'm going to have access from staging or Sandbox, Salesforce, Sura, Customers app, GitLab.com. And I don't know if I have license app, but I'll have the whole flow so I can start making actual subscriptions for these different flavors. So hopefully I can get this knocked out in this milestone. So I monopolized a lot of that conversation. That wasn't my intent. We have literally 60 seconds if anybody wants to bring anything up.
If we circle back to the UX question about visual reviews, I actually posted a link under that comment. Y'all can take a look at it. We had made a handbook update a couple of weeks ago about visual reviews, and it says that we unassign the UXer once design is done, and then dev reassigns the UXer. So it's actually already written in there. We had chatted about it more in the context of the acquisition conversion. But I think it should just apply to all the growth teams. Like, we should do the same thing. So if you all want to take a look at that, if you have any other suggestions, you can make another MR and we can talk about it async. But I think probably for now, we'll just go with that, and I'll give the designers a chance to like reread it and make sure and confirm that that's how we want to do that from now on.
I think that's great. Just having the clear expectation of who owns what, I think will be way more efficient and less confusing.
I agree.
All right, team. I did the majority of the talking here, so I'm going to ask: is this meeting beneficial? I can write out an agenda, and you can reference it async for future meetings. Or do you like the idea of the discussion? Thoughts on this meeting in general, changing it? What works best for you?
But I think it might be good to try to get it sooner, like right after the last sprint ends. Maybe
Okay.
I know this is the first time we've done it, but we're already kind of like a week into it. Like, we're pretty deep into development already. So I think just getting it out right at the beginning of the sprint or the milestone.
Perfect. Okay. I'll move that. Do you want it to be a little bit longer so we can have dialogue, like an hour, or keep it short and sweet?
For me personally, I like the meeting. I like that it gives us a chance to talk synchronously about some of these things up front, if need be. I don't have a preference on the time. I mean, I guess if we we're going over, then we can extend it.
We'll move it down. Okay, so I'll leave it at 30 and we'll see how it goes. All right. Well, thank you, everybody. Really appreciate your time. I'll get the video uploaded and linked. I've linked the agenda in the planning issue as well, in case you need to get back to it. And let's chat async if anything else comes up.
Thanks.
Thanks, Amanda.
Everybody.
Thank you.